Hey everybody, Will Hamilton here, and these are my US Open predictions. Now, on the men's side, going to go with Roger Federer. Probably not too much of a surprise there. He played great in Canada, lost to Murray in the final, and then he recently won Cincinnati. And I think he's being a little bit more aggressive now than he has in the past. And that really has been good for him on the hard courts. And it seems that working with Paul Annacone, who I suspect is behind some of those more aggressive tactics, the chip and charge and so on, that stuff has really paid dividends. So, one quick tactical thing I want to point out. Let's pretend that we've got, well, actually, let's talk specifically about the final between Fed and Mardy Fish in Cincinnati. We'll put Fed down here, and then we'll put Fish up here. And one thing I found interesting, a slight variation Fed made to a tactic he's used in the past. We'll see if he uses it at the Open. He'd get into these backhand to backhand exchanges. This is what he's always done, and he'd alternate between your generic, your sort of standard topspin backhand, and then the slice. And that's effective against a lot of righties. Going into the righty's backhand. Remember, circle player, stick the side they're hitting on. This is a backhand for a righty. This would be a forehand for a righty. Well, that topspin slice combo, let's say the contact point is somewhere around here when Federer hits a topspin backhand. Well, on the slice, doesn't penetrate as much. It's going to be in a little bit. So what Federer does with this, with that, alternating between the topspin and the slice, is he's moving his opponent up and back. So the opponent's not just moving laterally, moving out to hit and then back to the correct recovery point, also moving up and back. That makes it difficult to develop timing, rhythm and timing. Well, against Fish, Fed threw another sort of variation in there. He actually started really rolling his backhand, hitting kind of pseudo topspin moon balls. So you'd have the slice, which would be here, put slice. You'd have, the contact point for sort of standard, I guess you could say. Standard backhand, go BH standard. And then when he rolled it a lot more, got more loft, well, that pushed Fish back a little bit further. Fish was backing up to hit those balls. Now, you could certainly step in and take them, take them on the rise. That's a bit of a hard play. So Fish elected to back up. So now Federer basically was moving his opponent up and back more significantly than he would with his current exchange. He had three essential contact points and spots he'd work his opponent to. So that made it even more difficult for Fish to develop rhythm and timing. We'll see if he does the same thing at the Open against most of his opponents. Again, this type of exchange will not work against Rafa. We've explained why that is in the past, but I think against basically everybody else, it will. So again, looking for that loopy backhand topspin. See if he works that in there, and then I expect to see Federer come to the net a lot, use chip and charge, and play more aggressively, just generally off of the return. Now on the women's side, I'm part Danish, so I'm partial right now to Caroline Wozniaki, but she has been playing great, and she obviously made it to the final last year, losing to Clijsters. So she's on, she's in form, and she's on courts where she's demonstrated in the past she can perform. I think with Serena out, that she's got a good chance of winning it this year. She potentially could play Maria Sharapova in the fourth round, which is going to be a tough matchup. Sharapova is kind of rounding her way back in the form, so that could be a roadblock, an obstacle. Clijsters is obviously defending champion, and a dark horse a lot of people have picked, and I think certainly this girl has a chance to do some damage, is Victoria Azarenka, who's got a big game and has been moving pretty well. So I think if she is playing well, then she has a chance to go deep in the tournament, potentially win it as well. But I'm gonna go with Wozniaki. She's again, she's been playing well the last couple tournaments. She's advanced deep in the US Open before. So she's my pick. So we got Federer on the men's side, and then Wozniaki on the women's side. Really looking forward to the tournament. And before we close this video, a couple of sort of housekeeping notes. First of all, we are doing our live webcast like we did for Wimbledon, French Open. That'll be generally at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Some days we won't be doing it because we're actually going to be in New York for Labor Day weekend next weekend. And actually, if you're going to be there at the tournament, look for us. We'll be wandering around. So we got the webcast. Also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, there is a link in the description. We have just released a free course that is, it's about 2 hours of free content where we're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff. We'll be analyzing points by Federer, Nadal, Ivanovic, Clijsters, and so on, talking about the strategies they're using and talking about how you can apply these same strategies. And if you click through the link and watch the video, there's a complete description of what we're going to be talking about in the course, and you can opt in. Just fill in your name and email, and we'll send you that course right away. This course is part of a promotion we're doing for FYB Premium, but there's absolutely no obligation to buy anything, so you should just go ahead and get those free goodies because there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap this video up. We'll be doing other preview videos for upcoming matches, and we will, of course, see you in the webcasts also.